This is Tracy Hart with KHZTV.com. Now, men, sometimes women, we don't really tell you what we like. And that's probably an understatement. Just like you like it when we put a little bit of effort into getting dressed up, doing our makeup, our hair, looking good for you when we go out, we kind of feel the same way. You have a much better shot of attracting the woman you're interested in by just doing a few small things to your appearance. First, dress the part. Don't wear your old suit from the 80s or the clothes that you do yard work in, because that's just plain gross. Wear shoes that actually look like they go with the outfit that you're wearing. And finally, just put a little bit of effort into your hair. Nothing is worse than seeing a guy that just obviously doesn't care about his appearance. Now, with that in mind, I'm excited to be speaking with Vaughn, Stylist for the Stars. Vaughn, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Pleasure.
So why do you think that men just don't realize that by putting just a little bit of effort into their hair, that it makes such a difference?
I think a lot of it comes from just generational grooming, and sometimes we get stuck in our ways. Perhaps it's something our father taught us or our grandparents taught us. Anybody that's influenced us from a grooming standpoint over the years, sometimes we just get stuck and not wanting to move out of that. The other factor is really trusting a stylist and feeling comfortable with somebody that can experiment and show you different looks, and you believe him and you believe in how you feel when you visit him. So it's just opening up to those two things. A lot of guys can be stubborn, you're right. Once they do see a difference or they see something that's working for them, they're an extremely loyal client.
Talk about that they get stuck. A perfect example is a good friend of mine wears a military crew cut, and he's worn it. I've known him for 20 years, and the whole 20 years he's not been in the military. He was when he was much younger. And I had asked him one time, I said, you should really grow it out and, put a little bit of style. And he's like, no, this is just easy for me. This is, I get up and I just go. I think it kind of speaks to the fact that, as you said, men get kind of stuck in what they're comfortable with, and they don't realize that we're not asking them to do this big elaborate thing, but just putting a little bit of effort or a little bit of style really does make a huge difference.
At the end of the day, whether you're a man or a woman, you want to be confident. And, to put a short haircut on a woman or to grow a guy's hair out that's used to it being very, very short can actually be taking away the confidence factor and how they feel when they go out in the world. So the lucky thing is that we've got the internet and we've got all these images that are starting to pipe in through television, through magazines, but now even the internet, and that can start to influence a guy or a girl to think differently about maybe changing up their look. And that happens because they're being exposed to things. They may recognize a certain dress, a certain sort of feeling in a picture that resonates with them, and they think, well, I could do that. Maybe I would look good growing my hair out a little bit. But being told that, sometimes it's just going to be, there's a pride goes into it. You know what? I'm just fine with my military cut, and you can go change the subject and move on to something else. But there's a lot of factors that come in. At the end of the day, you really want to do what's right for that guy, what looks best for him, and that he's confident.
The classics are back. We're seeing in the magazines and we're seeing on the runway and just seeing out there in the public that, it's okay that the classics are classics because they work. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, I think a lot of the real classic things that never go out of style are being revisited, and guys are wearing things very parted, very groomed, purposeful with product in the hair. They want it to look like there's something in the hair, and there's been an effort made. It's almost funny to walk into a room these days and see a guy who has washed his hair, put nothing in it, it's just fluffy, or not really having a reason to buzz it all off. If a guy is losing his hair or thinning out and he wants to bring it back and get it shorter and shorter, even to a point of cutting it like a crew cut or a military cut, that's one thing. But when people are cutting their hair, or guys are cutting their hair extremely short and just buzzing it off, and you wonder why, that's the thing that's sort of standing out now more than a guy that's putting product in his hair and looks handsome.
So what is the difference between cutting, say, for instance, a woman's hair and styling a woman's hair versus that of men's? I know with women, there's just so many different things that can be done. From a man's standpoint, what do men look for, I guess, in a good cut?
Men look for simplicity, and generally speaking, when you think of women's hair, you think of men's hair, there's a length factor that's involved, and with length, there are a lot of options to do different things with hair. With guys, more than not, hair is a bit shorter across the board than it is with women. So what men are looking for is balance and ease, advice, the right product that will solve maybe a problem that they have, and that's it. I mean, in a nutshell, it's simplicity, things that work and work quickly.
So you've come out with a whole product line called V76 by Vaughn. First of all, what does V76 stand for?
V is initial, my name. 76 was the year that I started, where all of this started to resonate with me, and I picked up a pair of shears for the first time and gave it a try. So it was very significant And there was a lot of very interesting things happening in 1976 between music and hair and fashion, and it just sort of ignited me into this direction. So we called it V76 based on those two aspects.
So what can we expect from this product line?
Just as I said, the goal was to get guys to where they need to be quickly with grooming needs. Some of the products are serving a dual purpose. So there is an oil base, for instance, in the shave cream or the shave foam. Foam is generally a very drying, soapy kind of surfactant base, but we added oil to it and these little lipospheres that break up underneath foam and lay down this beautiful glide. There are things like lip balm that also I advise people to use on their cuticles when they're done putting it on their lips. There is powders that we can use on our body, but also in hair. There's a facial hydration mist that also reignites hair. If a guy's going out later in the evening and he's got product in his hair that's got memory in it, like some of these microfibers, he may be very buttoned up for work that day, but by just spraying a little of this in his hair and pushing it around, he can get a different look. Or if he's traveling and his hair's messed up, he can take this to the bathroom and not only sort of reset his hair, but give his face this really nice blast of hydration. So I tried to find dual purposes for things. It was born out of doing a lot of photo shoots and just knowing what my heavy clientele of men were, and that was wanting to get to a look or to an answer quite quickly. Nowhere on the products does it say for men, so we like to also, in a cheeky way, for years men have been borrowing from their significant others things, that hairsprays, whatever. So with this particular line, the way it smells, the way it looks, sort of can attract a woman as to what was that? What is this? This is interesting, and it works for them.
Well, and you talk about your clientele that you have. You have quite a spectrum of people that you work with.
Yeah, that continues to grow all the time. There's always a new one that's popping up, which is it's been quite a great adventure. I'm very lucky when it comes to that.
For instance, some of the people that you work with, they show up on People magazine, they show up on GQ. So your work is being seen all over the place, and that must mean something to you, especially thinking back to that day when you picked up the shears for the first time, and I believe it was cutting your brother's bangs or something like that.
No, it's true, and it all happened in Ohio. So to have gone to Europe and lived for several years and then end up in New York City and then end up the White House or various places with some of the best photographers, I really am blessed. I'm thankful every day. It's also given me the confidence to do this because, a lot of it has worked over the years. So I felt like I always had something to say. It was just finding the right time and the right partners to do this the correct way with, and I finally arrived on that.
So where can people, or how do people find V76 by Vaughn?
Right now, through the website is the easiest way. It's available at Neiman Marcus. It's available at about 150, probably more than that now, doors in America, top salons. We'll continue to roll it out. It was born in January after 2 years of formulation and about 16 years of dreaming. That's the easiest place to go. The website is very rich and lush with imagery and blogs and information and videos, and of course there's commerce on it too, and you can buy things. But right now, those are the primary sources. Generally speaking, for the public, V76.com, easy as that, and also Neiman Marcus.
So those guys out there that don't do anything to their hair right now, what would you say to them?
What are you doing? Come on. It's okay. It's never been more okay. Explore. Take a chance. I mean, especially with product, that's the safest way to move things around. It's not semi-permanent. You put something in, you move it around, you get these different looks, and it either works for you or it doesn't. But hopefully most of the guys out there are quite happy with their stylist, and they do know where to go for answers when they need them.
Well, thank you so much, Vaughn. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah, likewise.
This is Tracy Hart with the KHZTV Network, and I've been speaking with Vaughn regarding his new line that has come out, V76 by Vaughn.